Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Breaking the Silence podcast with myself, Luke.
Me, Kim.
Today we're going to be speaking to Damon Penney.
Yeah.
He's a demonologist.
Yeah. He's got his own podcast.
Does his own podcast here on the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre. Research Centre page. And we thought we'd get him on our podcast to have a little chat about paranormal, demons,
Demonology.
anything really.
Just a
Just a bit quick chit chat, eh?
Yeah.
So,
See what he has to say.
should we just jump straight into it and give him a ring?
Yeah.
Should we do it?
Yeah, so should only be about hopefully half an hour.
Okay.
I don't know about that. I've got quite a few questions.
She's got quite a few questions, but
So it might be a bit longer than half hour.
That's why I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
are you ready, Glenn?
Yeah.
I'm ready, yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
ready?
I'm ready.
You got your cup of tea made?
I have actually, yeah. Oh, easy.
So, hello Damon, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. just lost trail of thought then. What have you been up to? Is it you watching the football, right? Or?
No. I was going to, but it's been a bit of a mad week. I've done what I think it's like. I've done another interview already yesterday, and I've got my show tomorrow. So it's been a bit of a mad week for me. Since I moved over to Pulse Talk Radio, it's just blown up, and demons are trending. So what can I say? So
They're popular, isn't it, at the minute, demons?
yeah, they are the trending. Everyone's doing hashtag demonics or hashtag Baphomet. So
Yeah.
everyone wants to talk to me, which is quite funny because I don't have any friends. So it's cool, good.
Jesus.
Yeah. Whilst on the subject of demons, can you tell us what demonology is in like your terms? What would you class as, like a demonology sector?
If we look at it from the typical demonology is the study of demons within biblical terms. Now, I look at things outside of the Bible and outside of religion. Even though religion plays a part in it, I look at it beyond religion. So we're talking like before Christ, Mesopotamian times, Gregorian times. I look at demons from then. I study writings based on grimoires and like the Book of Enoch or the Pixelix is another one that I study. So I study demons outside of the biblical terms. I think the technical term for it is a lay demonologist.
Okay.
So you're not religious, are you?
No,
No.
I was raised a Catholic, but I sort of, after my experiences through the paranormal and what I experienced demon-wise, which turned me to this sort of thing, it's what changed my whole outlook on religion. And religion to me is just a box. It's a box that keeps us thinking in a certain way. And once you come outside that box, you start seeing the world for what it is, the higher consciousness that you're trying to achieve as a human. You start to sort of see things in a completely different light because you're not sticking to the narrative that has been put towards you over the years. Because I always use this analogy with people that I always go to me, are you religious? And they go, no, I'm not religious. You go, well, what date do you write down when you do your paperwork? And they go, all right, that date is based on religion itself because it's that amount of time after Christ. So
Christ. Yeah.
Good way to look at that. I never thought about that, did you?
No. I'm not a religious person anyway.
I've always liked to think myself as thinking outside the box anyway. But like you say, with a date, like writing dates and stuff, you don't think about it, do you?
No, and if you look at things from the Mayan perspective, the year is completely wrong by about 40 years. The Mayan calendar run in what they used to call astral years, which is more than 365 days. I think it runs at 1,125 days, the Mayan calendar. So, and that was way before Jesus and the birth of like what we call time itself now. So
Didn't Julius Caesar change it as well himself?
Yeah.
Julius, he added like an extra 3 months into the year, didn't he? Or something like that. Or he took away 3 months.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it is every year we lose a minute of time as well, based on like this new sort of concept of time that we have. So it's all that you've been taught in a narrative, and I try to think outside that narrative.
So when I do think of demons, I do think like religion-based demons.
Yeah.
But I've got quite a closed mind when it comes to things like demons. I'm not one that don't really believe in that kind of thing. I think, me personally, I think that a demon could be like, I don't think there's like demons, but people that are like horrible in like this life will probably be horrible in the afterlife, and that they do horrible things still. And I think that's where people might think that they're these demons. I don't know. That's not my own.
It sort of makes sense, but demons are, in the sense of, you've got to look at things. We as a people, we're human. That's what we're labelled as. We're humans. I look at things in the sense of, the demonics are intergalactic or interstellar, interdimensional beings, and their time runs congruent with our time, and they're able to travel to our dimension, because there's always talk, in alchemy and in occultism of in the dimensionals. You've got the 3D, the 4D, the 5D. We're in the stage of the Great Awakening now, because we're just going from Pisces to Sagittarius. So we're talking about unlocking the 5th dimension now, and people having that higher state of consciousness. So I look at it when it comes to demons, as they're like these sort of, they're interdimensional beings that are able to travel here because they have a higher intellect than us. I mean, we use 6% of our brains. These creatures have unlocked that extra part of their brain. They're able to transfer to our dimension. And when I say this to people, they look at me and they go, "You're absolutely off your nut, mate. You're on mushrooms or something." But at the end of the day, it's my perspective and what I've learned from reading the books and the knowledge that I've taken away from it.
Yeah.
I often get that said about me. You're on drugs or something.
His theories are just. I don't know if you've heard them, Damon. Bloody hell. What was it you were saying about the smartphone the other day about it being the aliens or something? I was like, what are you banging on about?
No, he's right. He's right. Technically speaking. Well, no, if you look at Project Bluebeam, which was all to do with the government alien program and stuff like that, supposedly they've released in 2018 in December, they released papers saying that the Roswell crash was real, and that what we took from the Roswell crash in the 50s was touchscreen technology. So smartphone is alien technology. So you are on the wrong right lines.
That's what I say. After that crash, all the technology, it boomed, didn't it? All the stuff that came out after it.
Yeah, it did. So, it just went crazy.
Yeah.
Look how happy you are because someone believes you. You must both be on mushrooms or something, eh?
Definitely.
She won't come out when we want. Are you into that CE5 project that they're doing? Stephen Gray?
No.
Where you basically you go sit in the field and like meditate to aliens and stuff, and come out, come and talk to you and stuff. Aliens that way.
Oh, okay. That sounds quite cool.
I was meant to be at a meeting tomorrow night, but she got out of it for me.
No, I said I'd go with you.
It's called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is by Stephen Gray.
Yeah.
If you watch some of his stuff, he talks about it all that. It's pretty good. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I interviewed a guy on my show called Andy McGrillen. He's a UFO podcaster, and the stuff that he was telling me, it just blew my mind. It completely just took me to another level. It was crazy, the stuff he was saying, but it made sense. And that's the thing, it makes sense. And when you're working in this sort of field, especially in the paranormal, whether it's an investigator, a medium, a demonologist, you have to have an open mind. If you've got a closed mind, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at things.
That's what I keep saying. Hearing about demons and stuff, just open your mind a bit more, and more stuff like.
Do you know what I find odd with it, Damon? Is because, like you said, it's very popular at the minute, and a lot of people are sort of using the hashtag demons. You see it on lives a lot, and the in capitals demon activity.
Yeah.
And because it is so popular, it gets a lot of views, and I think a lot of investigators use it as a tool to get the views, and I think that's why I'm so not against it, but just a bit like,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I mean, the problem is the trends within the paranormal. Like, say for instance, when The Conjuring 2 come out, the amount of cases that come across my table and they were like, I am being haunted by Valak. Yeah, it's because you've watched the film. That's why you think it is, you know. You've watched the film, and that's what's the problem is. And there are trends in the paranormal. I mean, we went through a stage, I think it was about 5-6 years ago, where everyone had a poltergeist. Everybody had a poltergeist.
Yeah.
You know, and it is hard to keep up with it. But I've been doing demonology now probably 6-7 years, and it is trending now, and it is bad because I'm going on shows. I'm explaining to people like you've got to look at it outside the biblical concepts. You've got to look at it outside religion, but people find it so hard to break away from that narrative that they've been taught over so many years. Because even though you might not have religious,
so they all think they're demons from a physical sense, from a religious sense. They all think they're being haunted by demons of that sort of context of a religious value.
Yeah. You know, everyone says, "Oh, I need an exorcist." Well, do you really? You know.
What was I saying? Well, I think we were saying on our last podcast or podcast before. We were talking about demons anyway. And now what we was reading is like demons wasn't believed to be negative energies.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. 100%. And they were actually called before. We had this whole thing with the Catholic Church terming them demons or fallen angels, depending. They're two different types of things anyway, but they were called daemons. Completely ironic, I know, but there you go. And they were said to have good properties and bad properties. Yeah. Like if you take Lilith, for example, Lilith, if you disrespected her when you was pregnant, then you had a stillborn. But if you respected her, then the baby was born healthy. Yeah. And also, if you look at Lilith in general as well, the story of Lilith is actually based on Adam and Eve. The story they tell you of Adam and Eve in the Bible is, well, from my perspective, is completely incorrect. See, now, it was actually Adam and Lilith in the first place, but because Lilith wasn't subservient to Adam, she wouldn't serve him. He banished her to the darker place, and then he made Eve from his right rib bone. And because he made it from her, she was made from him, she was subservient to him. And that's why Lilith is used by a lot of feminist groups now to show that, to stand up, because she was the first woman that stood up for her rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just goes to show as well what effect films and TV has on the paranormal.
100%. It has a massive effect, and it's not always a good effect because a lot of these films are embellished. I mean, I've just finished watching The Conjuring 3. Brilliant.
It is
absolutely brilliant film. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil it for anybody out there who's going to listen. But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. And don't get me wrong, they have really some of these films and these investigations that people put on Amazon and YouTube and that, they have a great effect. But my thing at the moment that I'm going in on at the moment, there's two things that I can't stand at the moment. That's people that go on YouTube and use Ouija boards when they haven't got a clue, and people that are adamant that these phone apps work. And I always say to people, if you can prove a phone app work, if you want to have an argument with me, I'll happily fight you for charity. It's no problem. You know what I mean? So
we did a last video, didn't we, about the phone apps and that? But we was testing them out, but we never got anything on them. So
we're not sure.
They just produce false positives all the time. I mean, phones were made to communicate. You know, everything we do, even when we go on the internet on our phone, it's communication.
Yeah,
it's communication with the wider world. But you can't communicate with something that's outside the realm of science, because that's what spirits and demons and poltergeist, they're outside the realm of science. They can't be measured in a scientific fashion, because science is something that's measurable by the five senses. When you go on investigations, you might be using your senses, but you're using senses that are not within the scientific sort of narrative.
What I say about phone apps as well is like when they've got microphones built in your phones anyway, haven't they? So like what's to stop them from recording you and asking, like, picking up what you're saying, getting it through the microphone of your phone and then giving you some crap back.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you could ask it to say, like, to repeat what you're saying, and then it could just like get a key word and then it just bounce back at you.
Yeah, it's like when you talk to Alexa, it'll say something back to you.
Yeah, 100%. And
you could be doing that with these phone apps, but
the thing I'm trying to push out to everyone at the moment is auto-suggestion. Everything is auto-suggestion at the moment. No one's giving it a chance for people to go out there and just to go to old school investigating. You know, you've got your microphone, you've got yourself, and you've got your camera. That's all you need.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to have these showpieces like EMF detectors and REM pods and motion detectors and these balls that light up that you're actually supposed to use for your cats. But, you know, but yeah, go out there and go old school, because you'll get better evidence with the old school way of investigating, because old school's the best school. It always has been.
Yeah, it is. It sure is.
I do agree with that. I do agree.
But say what you still use them after a bit, don't you?
Yeah, I do like to use the odd. I'm just curious, and if I see some of a new gadget or something, I'm like, oh, I want to give that a go.
Luke, give me 200 quid to get this.
That's a woman's prerogative. That is a woman's prerogative.
Yeah.
I can't argue with her, so.
Yeah, I understand that.
Anyway, how do you become a demonologist, and like how did you become one?
I mean, I sat a university course, but to be honest with you, the certificate, the diplomacy I got in it was like 2 years, and it wasn't massively important. It was just to show that I've got something there. But I've been studying it now for 6-7 years. It's basically just diving into occult knowledge and diving into these books that people don't really throw about. You know, you're talking about the grimoires, the Rouge Draconia, like the Red Dragon, that's another good one, the Pixelix, the Book of Enoch. And the great thing about the Book of Enoch is it was actually one of the books that were taken out at the Council of Nicaea. Now, this is where my whole take on religion changed when I found out about this Council of Nicaea. Now, I think it was 341 AD, after Jesus was killed. They held Constantine I, Roman Emperor Constantine I, held a council. And in this council, they actually decided what books to include into the Bible. They decided on Jesus' divinity, and they also decided on what day we have Christmas. So, you know, this is where but to be a demonologist, you need to get your head in these books. Anything sort of, any grimoire, I think like 37, 38. Read anything by Key of Solomon. That's a good place to start as well. M. Ballinger is another great one. Sort of stay away from like places, things like Dictionary of Demons, Encyclopedia of Demons, because that's more for reference more than learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically you've got to be a complete and utter weirdo and enjoy reading stuff written in Old English.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It sounds like a lot of research, and you know, it's not something like you just say go on Wikipedia, have a quick. It's not like that.
Well, it's been going thousands of years. There's probably loads and loads to learn, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. The guy I co-host with on my show on Pulse, he's also like my teacher as well, but he's a demonologist and an occultologist, and he's very highly into like sort of alchemy and stuff like that. So I learn a lot from him, and we sort of bounce off each other. So I'm quite lucky to have someone to sort of support me in that way. But it's basically just research and looking into it, and don't take things on face value, and sort of look and gain your own perspective. Because when I first started this, I was looking at things from a completely biblical sort of a point of view. You know, up is heaven, down is hell, Lucifer's king. But when you actually look at it, Lucifer means light bearer, and technically he wasn't a demon; he was a fallen angel, which is a class of demons called the seraphim. And you've got other types of demons. You've got Anunnakis, you've got Archons, Cherubim, and then they're all sort of. And once you get into demons, you also get into angels as well. And you start looking at the different types of angels and their hierarchy, as well as the demonic hierarchy. And it's like each one has their own sort of little personality, and they all have their own little telltale signs. And it's just basically just learning, just constantly researching and learning new stuff, you know. And there's so many different parts of demonology as well. You've got hierarchies to learn. You've got identification of demons to learn. You've got sigils to learn as well. Each demon angel have their own sigil for summoning and their own sort of way of summoning them as well. So, it is a lot of research to be a demonologist. I mean, I will never, ever turn around and say I'm an expert, because if I turn around and say I'm an expert, it shows I've got nothing else to learn.
Yeah.
And every day's a school day, you know. I
Yeah.
don't even like the term demonologist, but it's the only way you can label what I do. So
Yeah. So to me, you sound like an expert, because to me, I'm like, bloody hell, it's a lot of it. It's like processing it in my head.
yeah.
You mentioned occultology as well. Just for
Yes.
everybody out there, can you just explain what that is?
The word occult just means hidden. So it's hidden. It's hidden knowledge. It's anything that's esoteric. Anything that's sort of the best way to sort of understand occultism is to look at teachings by people like John Dee, Aleister Crowley. It's all to do with black magic. People associate occultism with like people like Anton LaVey, which is the guy who started the Satanic Church and wrote the Satanic Bible. It's not. Occultism is just learning hidden knowledge and dealing with black magic and going that way, and sort of anything by John Dee is great if you want to get into occultism, but it's all to do with Baphomet, met the perfect number for man, and alchemy is all to do with turning water into gold and that sort of thing. I mean, occultology sort of comes into it, but I've just sort of brushed over it. I've never actually looked into it, but yeah, it's just basically hidden teachings and learning stuff to do around hidden teachings.
Cool. So now I've recently watched one of your lives as well, and you spoke about conspiracy theories and how there could be a link to the paranormal. Could you maybe tell us a bit more about your theory on that?
Well, it's not a theory; it's proven that the American government developed a project called the Collins Elite. Now, the Collins Elite were developed to find out whether aliens are demons, are demonic. They've recently released all the paperwork for that, and they do have a strong belief that the aliens are demons, and that's where my sort of analogy comes into like sort of interdimensional beings and stuff like that. But yeah, the paranormal and conspiracy theories, they join up so much. I mean, look at Bigfoot. Bigfoot is one of the biggest conspiracy theories out there. What is Bigfoot? And we class Bigfoot as a cryptoid, which cryptoid is paranormal. My theory on Bigfoot is that he was a Nephilim, which is it's an offspring of a demonic race. We have the fallen angels coming down to Earth. They were mating with the female humans, and they were spawned these like 7-8 foot giant, what they called Nephilim. And these were going around eating things. Once all the food ran out, they started eating humans, and that's why God, that's why there was a giant sort of flood to get rid of them. And I believe that Bigfoot is an ancestor of the Nephilim. That's my theory anyway, but I ain't got no chance of proving that because I don't even know where to go and find Bigfoot. So,
you mentioned Ouija boards earlier, and from the sound of it, then what is your thoughts on Ouija boards then? What's your full on take on them?
Ouija boards are the bane of my life. You wouldn't understand how many people contact me and go, "Oh, I've got an attachment. This is happening. This is happening. This is happening." You're like, right, okay. 3 questions. Let's start off. Have you done a Ouija board? Yes. Okay. Did you shut it down properly? No. Well, how? Why didn't you shut it down properly? Why did you do a Ouija board if you didn't know what you was doing? It's like, oh, I saw it. I saw one of my favourite YouTubers go out and do it, or I see it on Most Haunted, or I saw it on Ghost Adventures. Ouija boards are a great medium for communication with the spirit world, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to understand that it's like playing with fire or taking a gun out for the first time and you never use one. You're playing with something that can cause a hell of a lot of damage. It's something that can ruin lives. The amount of attachments that have happened from Ouija boards is unbelievable. But it's the same with any spirit communication. Anything with the EVPs, anything with glass divination, anything. You've got to know what you're doing. And I think Ouija boards are great forms of communication, but it's the archetype of what is going on now with the paranormal world where people are just seeing it on TV and going out and trying these things that is the problem with any sort of spirit communication now, including Ouija boards. They just give you that sort of false sense that I can go out there with a Ouija board and a planchette and I can make communication. Everything will be fine. Everything will be safe when it's not. So great form of communication, but they have to be used in a correct way.
Why would you think that Ouija boards only attract negative energies, like to any other like communication with spirits? Like, why is it always Why do you think it's always like they think they get negative attachments after using a Ouija board kind of thing?
It's because of auto-suggestion. Every time you watch a Ouija board on a Ghost Adventures program or a Most Haunted or a YouTube video, they're always contacting negative spirits, and that's why we do it, because of auto-suggestion. I've done thousands of Ouija boards in my time as an investigator and as a demonologist, and I think I had Zozo come through once. Bear in mind, Zozo's not even demonic; it's actually a mimic, but that's a complete whole tangent. But I think I had Zozo come through once, and the rest of the time it's just communications with family members and friends and spirits that were actually there that were intelligent. Because you don't get residuals through a Ouija board, you get intelligence through a Ouija board. So I just think it's auto-suggestion plays a massive part in the paranormal world at the moment, and especially with Ouija boards, because what we're told and what we see on TV is always negative. Negative. You'll never get a program on TV or a film that deals with positive spirit contact, and that's why.
Yeah, well, we've been through that, haven't we, ourselves?
Oh yeah.
In this house. I don't know if you've heard. We was on Help My House Is Haunted.
Oh, okay.
They came here, and my granddad's here basically. But because obviously we used to do events, which we still do, don't we? But obviously to sell the show, they have to put that negative spin, and because they saw a Ouija board in the loft, which we're gonna have because we've done events. Oh, you've not closed down the Ouija board properly, and it's like, shut up. Yeah, I have. So
and the craziest thing about that is that I always get laughed at when I say this. But the best way to close down a Ouija board is with freshly squeezed orange juice.
Okay.
It's an old ancient Egyptian technique, and you know what? 99.9% of cases that I deal with freshly squeezed orange juice, and it actually works. Oh, and the whole thing, I call it sage rage. Do you know the people that come into your house and they get the sage stick and then they start raving? It doesn't work. Sage does not work. It's proven over historical backlogs constantly that it was just used as an incense stick. The only thing that works with negative and demonics is frankincense. And I've seen it work firsthand. Frankincense really does work. Sage rage, they've got to get rid of it.
Yeah. I'll just keep that one in mind, the orange juice.
Get some oranges in.
Or you just throw it by your room, like, woo.
Can it just be a carton of orange juice, or does it?
No, it has to be freshly squeezed.
Fresh,
yes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I had a case a little while ago where this guy bought this relic online. It was a relic of Pazazu, which was an ancient Babylonian demon, and this relic was causing him to have a lot of problems in his house. Supposedly, it was bringing Pazazu through. And while I was on FaceTime to him, I said, "Look, do yourself a favour, grab the relic." He's like, "I was like, you've got an orange?" He was like, "Yeah, I've got an orange." I said, "Push the relic into the orange." So he's done that, and 2 days later, he said, "Yeah, nothing else has happened now. It's great. It's all done." It's crazy. People laugh all the time, but it does really work. I promise you, it really works.
Let's try
Try that one. Oranges.
Keep some oranges in the kit.
I always have oranges anyway.
That's brand new for me, that one. Absolutely brand new, that oranges one. Like.
Yeah, it does
brand
work, though. It really does work.
Your daughter's better then.
She pooed, didn't she? So I had to go and sort that out. 3-year-old just taking dumps at 10 o'clock at night. She hasn't been well, so I've got to try and look after her. Like.
I know that, mate. I've got that feeling. I've got 5, so.
Oh. They take dumps at 10 o'clock at night and all, do they?
Yeah.
Now she's happy like nothing's ever happened to her. So I do, but that's why I keep running off, so I do apologise. Yeah, I've got one. Sorry? Yeah, I've got one. So is there a demon that everyone should actually fear that has attempted to reach out to other people?
It's quite backwards. The ones that we fear are not actually that bad. I mean, it's you've got to look at history in itself. I mean, back like hundreds of years ago, people would go like they were scared of this demon called Moloch, and some priest turned around to him and said, "Look, if you want to keep Moloch on your side, then you need to go and sacrifice your children to it." So they built a big statue of Moloch. They burnt a fire at the bottom of it, and they threw all their kids into it. There isn't any one that stands out. There was hierarchy all the way with demons. There's probably 50, 60 different hierarchies. You've got hierarchies that level from Solomon's Key, which is the 74 demons that help him build the temple. Lucifer being at the top and sort of working its way down. You also have hierarchies like the Subpoena hierarchy that sort of puts them in sense of like the different deadly sins. You've got, princes of the north, princes of the west, elemental demons. The only thing that seems to be the common occurrence between all the hierarchies is there's always the same four at the top. It's always Satan, aka Saturn, Lucifer is the light bearer, Beelzebub, which is pure gluttony, he already shows himself as a fly, and Asteros, which is the demon that's supposed to teach humans about astrology. Those seems to be the four main demons that are always at the top of the hierarchy. So if I say that if there's any that you need to be sort of wary of, it would be them four.
Yeah, I've heard of Beelzebub a few times, like through exorcisms.
Yeah, he always shows up as part of the Legion. People talk about Legion. I think that's a complete fallacy. Legion, I don't know if that even existed. I've never actually come across a case of it. I mean, when we talk about famous cases of demonics, you look at the case of Annalise Michel, which is the original case that the exorcism of Emily Rose was based on. But when she was, if you listen to the tape, she was saying stuff like, "I'm Lucifer, I'm Hitler, I'm Fleischmann." And you get the age-old story: how can humans become? No, they can't. They become really extremely bad spirits, but they can't become demons. So yeah, basically, I'm sort of spitballing, but the answer to your question is the four that I mentioned are the main hierarchies. They seem to be the main sort of
coming out
ones. Yeah, the ones you need to be sort of worried about.
So, on the same context of exorcisms and that, have you ever performed one yourself or like taken part in one?
No, I've seen an exorcism. I didn't believe what I was seeing. It completely, me looking at things outside of religion and the biblical side of things. Don't get me wrong, rite of exorcism works on some people, and for some reason, and I have no explanation for it, religious relics, religious connotations seem to work to anger some demons. I don't know why, but exorcisms and that, I mean, I've never performed one. You have to be ordained to be an exorcist anyway, and you have to be sanctioned by the Vatican. I think in 2019 there was 19 exorcisms in England. I might have got that number completely wrong, but I remember reading that there was 19 ordained exorcisms in the UK itself. So to be a full-blown exorcist, you have to be ordained, and you have to be recognised by the church and the Brotherhood of Exorcisms.
I don't know how many people got in this country. 19. It's like a very, very small amount, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite crazy when you think about the number. Because I was thinking, it's got to be in the hundreds. It's got to be. Yeah. And then when you look at it, it's like, okay, maybe not.
That's pretty bad. That's really surprising, that one.
Yeah. And I think it's because of the process that you have to go to have an exorcism, because you have to prove that demonics are there.
And then they'll help out,
Yeah, and they will sanction it, and then it has to be sanctioned. They have to pick an exorcist. And it's normally based on, your family's back history, what religion you are. And because don't forget, as much as we associate demons in the Catholic religion, they also are demons in like other religions, like Muslim religion and Hinduism. I mean, the Muslims call their demons jinn.
Jinns, yeah.
Yeah, and they're born from a smokeless fire. I've not really gone completely into jinn. I've just started hitting on like voodoo and stuff like that because I've got a high priestess and a shaman on my show tomorrow night. So I'm sort of like trying to brush up on that, but that stuff is just like mind blowing. It's going to take a long time to get my head around all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So you've written about the power of the number 3 as well. Can you just tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, see, when you talk about demonics and you talk about Satan and devils and that, the little red man with the pitchforks and the horns, everyone goes, 666. I remember being younger and your friends used to dare you to dial 666 on your phone.
Yeah.
But I don't think the number 6 is important in any sort of demonic haunting. I think the number 3 is highly more important. Not as a mockery to the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't think it's a mockery to that. I just think that 3, if you look at the number 3 in numerology, it's a powerful number, because you have the number 3, the number 7, the number 11. In numerology, they're very powerful numbers. And 3 is also powerful in the negative, especially in numerology as well. And if you look at demonic hauntings, all the knock-ins are in 3. Most activity in the oppression stage will happen in sets of 3. Whenever you get scratched, when there's any sort of demonic around, it will be in sets of 3. So I believe that the number 3 is more important in demonic hauntings than the number 666. And it goes back to my theory of autosuggestion. Since the film The Omen, the number 666 has always been associated with the devil. And that autosuggestion has carried on and played out in the narrative of everybody's life. And it's got to the point now where we associate the number 666 with the devil when it's not. The number 3 is highly more important.
I always thought about 666. It's not really. I don't really believe in it.
No.
I say when you mentioned about the 3, it's like, yeah, it's like we got the witching hours. That's meant to be 3. It's 3 in the morning and stuff like that as well, isn't it? So
yeah.
Got a very
3:33 is a witching hour, isn't it?
Yeah. As I say, number 3 is it's more believable than 666.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to look at it beyond the fact of religion, because, like I said, 666, it's mentioned that's also mentioned in the Bible, the mark of the beast, 666. Another narrative that we've been driving down the same road as religion for a long time. But numerology is a massive thing. It sort of comes under occultology and stuff like that. But numerology, number 3, is such an important number. Especially it's like have you ever heard a story in numerology about the number 7? When you go to casinos, you spin a lucky 7, don't you?
Yeah.
If you look at numerology, number 7 is actually the most unluckiest number that you can have, and these casinos and that do that so that you're trying to spin for an unlucky number and you believe you're getting lucky, so you end up putting more coins in that machine to try and spin that lucky 7.
It's gonna be a lucky one,
yeah. And that's when numerology comes into play in real life as well.
Cool.
So my lucky number's 36.
Yeah.
It's because it was the only number I could remember in the 6 times table. 6 times 6 is 36. And I just thought, 6, 6, 3, 6, 3 there. There you go.
Wasn't there a movie about a guy in a hotel room who was at number 27 or 23 or something?
Oh, you're talking about? Oh, I think I know one. Is that one with Samuel L. Jackson?
I think it's someone in a hotel room, but he's like writing he has to go to number 23, or he's writing he's obsessed with this one number, and he's writing.
I know what you mean.
Some sort of code has got a crack with it, but it's just someone made it up at the beginning. And he's like, "Oh, number 23." I'm sure it's number 23.
Can't remember what it's called though. Can you?
What film is that one?
Can't remember. That's what I'm trying to think.
Is it didn't Jim Carrey do one?
I think.
Is it that one?
Jim Carrey. I think it could be. But I don't know if Samuel Jackson's in it. I don't know if there's 2 movies of it. No, there's one. There's definitely someone in a hotel. I remember them being in a hotel.
Oh. No, can't remember that one.
Lots of Google it. Let us know, Glenn.
Yeah.
It's just where I'm totally making up and I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. Google it. What I'm doing.
Google it.
Are you writing a book?
Starting. But
yes, that's my book. Can you give us a brief description of what it's going to be about?
Well, I started one, and then I moved on to another one, and I've got 2 going on at the moment. One of them is just based on my journey to demonology, what got me to the point to study demons and demonology. The second one is the problem with demonology in itself is you have to go to so many different places, so many different sources to get all the information. My idea was to put all the sources of information into one book. And it's obviously going to be a big book, but it's sort of like a demonology 101 book. That's what it is. So, I mean, it has little stories in there, back in the medieval times, they used to put, when they were sort of consummating the marriage, they used to put a salt circle around the bed.
Yeah.
And just in case the demons would come and take the bride away. I mean, it's all little bits of information about, how to tackle demons. how to recognise the 4 different stages of demonic, diabolical entities and stuff like that. I just wanted to basically get all the main sources, sort of like Demonology 101, so people can read this book and sort of get a concept of what demonology is. Yeah. But the other books here, it's just about my experiences and how I got to where I am.
Cool.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
To get that one.
Yeah, another question popped in my head then, but I can't, it's just totally gone.
I've got a question.
You got a question.
Yeah, so on your podcast, Demonologist UK, who has been your favourite guest on it so far, and also what has been your favourite bit of content?
Oh, good God. You're going to make me an evil man now.
You haven't got to name names, you don't have to name names, but...
No, I'll name names. I love controversy. I love being trolled as well. It's great. The best guest I had on is between 2. No, between 3. I'll have to put it between 3. Andy McGrillen, the UFO guy, just completely blew my mind. And he's definitely my favourite content by far. My co-host Ben Winfield is another guy that his shows used to just go off. I loved all his content, the stuff he used to talk about. The guy is just full of knowledge when it comes to demonology and occultology. And my third favourite guest was a lady called Kay Maloney. She is a Kabbalistic medium, and she works within the Kabbalah, doing mediumship. And she actually done a live reading on me, live on my show, and it was spot on. Like, everything was so spot on. I've got her on my Pulse show in 2 weeks. She's coming on with her husband, Craig Maloney, and they do this thing called ITC. It's like dumbing down how you sort of contact. They're going back to the old school ways of contacting spirit, and they do it live on air. So I'm going to get them on the show and talk about that. But yeah, they're my 3 guests and my 3 favourite content by far on the show.
That's right. That.
Feel better them 2.
Yeah.
Crazy Craig and Kay.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Deleted, didn't they?
Oh. Bloody hell.
Don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah, I love a good medium, mate. I want to read it now.
Every time we get one, Kim's definitely get a reading.
I love a reading.
You need to speak to Kay. Get Kay on the show. Get her to give you a reading live on air. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. The woman is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. She really is.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah. What can people expect from your future shows on radio and stuff?
Well, at the minute, the Demonologist UK has had to shut down the live shows on Facebook. I have not got the time to run a live show and my new radio show that's over on Pulse Talk Radio. So I'm moving the show over to Saturdays now, 9 till 10 p.m. I do a show called The Other Dimension, which is with my co-host Ben Winfield, and we sort of give it this an uncensored look at the paranormal, where we like to sort of, people can come on and troll what they like, and we just talk uncensored. Because with Facebook, you're sort of censored with certain things that you can say and certain things you can do. There's certain algorithms that you can't get around. With Pulse Talk Radio, it's a standalone radio station, and they've boasted some amazing guests on there. Russ had Andrea Perron on the other day, which was the original woman from the original Conjuring. He's got Michelle Ballinger on this week, who's the woman she's written like 41 books on occult and demonology and stuff. So, I mean, Pulse is a really good place to be for me, myself, and I'm going to put 100% into that show and sort of bringing that up to the next level. So what people can expect from me is some great content coming from the Pulse show, and I'm going to be uploading it onto YouTube if anyone wants to catch up. It's going out as a podcast as well every week. It's available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon. It's available wherever you get podcasts. Yeah. So I'm just going to keep banging out content, and hopefully, plans for the future, I'm going to be doing some premium content via a couple of websites I've been speaking to. So though, on top of the Other Dimension show, they'll be getting something called the Other Dimension Extra, where people will be able to sort of get extra content from us and conversations that we can have without putting it out there on the internet. So it'll be recorded for freehand. So it'll just be like completely uncensored. Then me and Ben are very, very worst.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You said about what do you mean by trolling? What kind of, what have you been saying?
Oh, I had a guy message me once and said that what I was saying about Satan is completely and utter crap because he has sat down and had a cup of coffee with him, and he's quite a nice bloke.
Oh,
okay.
So I had that one. I've been told I know nothing. I talk absolute rubbish. At the end of the day, what people have to understand is that I'm not trying to push my perspective on other people. I understand that. Like you guys, I mean, I watched your video where you talk about demons. You went, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know if I believe. I mean, if we come away from this conversation and you've got some knowledge from me, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm not here to change your mind and make you become believers in demons.
No.
It's all about perspective at the end of the day, and that's all that matters. You know, I have my perspective. These people have their perspective.
Yeah.
Which it reminded me of my question as well. So.
Oh, go.
Do you ever, like, when you're researching stuff, do you ever come across stuff that you found out was like, you found out something and you found when you was researching it again, you found out a different answer to it, if you get me? So like basically you're researching one thing and you've got two different answers.
Yeah. Lucifer's the main one.
Yeah.
Whenever I research Lucifer, it's always two different sides. I mean, people say that he presents himself with long blonde hair and two different coloured eyes.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that say he presents himself as a black hooded figure like the Grim Reaper. And I've researched, and it's just backwards and forwards like ping pong. I don't know what to believe. I've gone a bit further into it, and I know that the gatekeeper, the demon that controls the flow of obviously the transport, is a demon called Icarius, and he looks like the Grim Reaper. But Lucifer, I mean, it's constant backwards and forwards. You just never know what information to believe in. I mean, as far as I'm aware, Lucifer means light bearer, and that's about as far as it goes for me with him.
That's what I noticed about Lucifer when I was looking into it. It's like I say, with light bearer and stuff, and there's all different kinds of stories. And like you say, you just don't know where to go, do you?
No,
like what I say to Kim is like the Bible and stuff, where it all comes from. It gets changed. It got changed so many times. There's like throughout the years.
Yeah.
There's loads of different stories to it. Like when they say you just make your own mind up at the end of the day, don't you? Do your own research then.
You do your own research, you gain your own perspective on what you're reading. At the end of the day, I mean, the whole thing that I explained here with the Council of Nicaea, the Bible was put together by a Roman emperor and all the bishops and priests at the time. There were a lot of books that didn't make it into the Bible, like the Book of Mary Magdalene, the Book of Enoch. There's loads out there, and you can find them. Because don't forget, anything sort of printed after a certain date or anything printed before that is available for completely free because they didn't have publishing rights back then. So if you just get online and you look, you can have them on your phone. You can sit there and read them while you're on the train, and they're there for you for nothing.
Yeah. So you've been watching? You seen them on Netflix, Lucifer?
No,
don't do it.
It's my guilty pleasure.
It's awful. It's such a bad show.
No, I mean, I only watch documentaries, really. I'm a bit of a weirdo. I said to you, to do this sort of job, you got to be a complete weirdo anyway. So.
Yeah.
Gaia is a good one for that, isn't it? You've not seen that.
No.
What's that one?
Gaia. It's like Netflix, but it's full of documentaries and.
Yeah. I've seen it. When they do all the space stuff on there and all that sort of thing.
That's good. That's good to watch.
Yeah, I see.
That's there's Space to Luke. It's a different podcast. We're going to wait for that another time. Dimension Space. That's it. You've got to add 2 hours to your time. You're in bed by midnight.
Are you still doing? Is it the GoFundMe for the National Autistic Society? Are you still doing that?
No, I've shut that down.
You shut it down.
I'm looking at other ways to raise money for autism. Autism is something that's affected my life personally. I don't want to go into too many details about it, but I wanted to raise. I'm looking at other ways of raising money. I might be doing like a 15k walk through London to raise money for that, which I'll be broadcasting live on my page, hopefully. So we'll see what happens. But that's obviously in the planning stage. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I was just gonna ask for the link or something so I could put it underneath me when I've done the video. I could have put it at the bottom.
All right. Okay. No, it's fine. I've had to shut it down now. But it's there will be. When I obviously do this 15K, I'll be speaking to you guys about sponsoring because you don't get to interview me without sponsoring me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't mind sponsoring people, do we?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Definitely throw a couple of.
You got any more questions, Glenn?
No, that's it. Just reference what we've seen before about people like the trolling stuff and people seeing that people like us talk absolute crap. But like to me, meeting that's the first time I met a demonologist in a sense. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's more knowledge. Like learning from what he's got to say, because obviously when we did our demon podcast, I was more on the fence of everything. I was just reading what I had in front of us and used what knowledge I kind of had behind us, but it's like bare minimum. Whereas Damon's got 7 years ahead of me doing that sort of stuff and the experience that sort of bit. He knows so much compared to what I've got.
Yeah.
It's more like a gratitude to know and people saying that he's all this trolling stuff. I don't understand it personally because to me it's a nice get an extra bit of education. If a medium comes on, it's nice to know what type of medium or how they work and stuff like that. So it is to me, it's more of a gratitude thing and nice to get the education. So cheers for opening my eyes a bit more to certain things.
No problem. I mean, that's what we do. We spread knowledge the old school way by telling stories and sharing knowledge through word of mouth.
I think you're the first demonologist I spoke to actually as well.
No, we spoke to that one on that show, didn't we?
Which show?
We went to London College to help them with that. Help them with their project on that TV
yeah, but we didn't really get to have a proper chat about it.
It was alright then.
Yeah. But I mean, actually about demonology, that's the first time I've really
got into it deep.
Yeah, to anyone about it. In fact, I've got a question. Because I watched, not recently, I watched Ghost Adventures, right? And he was doing the thing, because he knows, Ted Bundy, yeah. He was on about Ted Bundy. And he was trying to make out that it was a demon through Ted Bundy that did these killings. And I just want, like serial killers and things like that. Do you think that is a connection with demons?
No, I don't think they are. I mean, you've got to remember at the end of the day, there's good and bad in every race. There's good and bad in humans, and there's good and bad in spirits as well. I mean, the whole Amityville case, that would point more towards demons than Ted Bundy. I mean, didn't they dissect his brain and found out that he had some sort of weird chromosome that made him into a serial killer because he couldn't feel empathy or something? I'm sure they did. Yeah. I mean, there's got to be some science. I don't believe Ted Bundy was possessed. No, I don't believe Son of Sam was possessed or anybody like that, or Stephen Griffiths, the crossbow killer in the UK. I don't think they were under demonic possession at all. I just think that these are just people that have no empathy, and they were just built in a different way to us law-abiding people that go out of the weekend and talk to nothing.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I was getting worked up about a few weeks. See, he's laughing because I get angry about it because it drives me insane. Because I actually think the worst thing on this earth is actually humans. I think we're the worst people. We're the ones to do horrible stuff, in my opinion. That's how I see it.
Well, it's like when going back to Lucifer, he was cast out of heaven and sent down to. They say he was sent down to Earth. It didn't say anything about hell. He was cast out of heaven down to Earth, not down to hell.
If you look at religion in general as well, there's thousands of religions out there now. I've come across a religion called Gnostics. I don't know if you ever heard of the Gnostics religion.
No.
Gnostics religion is complete invert of Christianity, and they look at the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. They look at the Garden of Eden as Earth, as a prison planet, and instead of the serpent offering them the apple and then taking it, and it's a bad thing, they look at it as the apple is knowledge. It's the knowledge to escape the prison planet, and the serpent was the good guy offering the apple to Eve. And that's why they sort of worship it in sort of like a backwards level. They see Lucifer or Satan as God, and God is the bad guy because they keep us trapped on this prison planet. And that sort of goes what you were saying about Lucifer getting sent to Earth. This is a prison planet. And the only way to escape it is to excel our consciousness and our knowledge to the point where we can escape it.
Sure is.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I think I agree with that one.
Agree with that
yeah.
One. You're thinking now,
I'm thinking, you know. Because now I want to talk about Son of Sam, because I recently watched, because I like serial killers. Not that I like them, but I'm really, like, I don't know, I find them interesting. Not that I think they're great or anything, not like that, but you know what I mean. Sons of Sam, because they reckon that was an occult thing, don't they? That there was more than one, and he weren't just on his own and all this. I'm going to ask you what your opinion is on that.
You talk about David.
What's his name?
David Bakovich or something.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, well, the one that said that his dog told him to go around shooting people.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I mean, the conspiracy theory in it that apparently there's an occult behind it, and there was more than one, and he said that his dog was telling him to do it, which was actually a demon and all. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that. I believe there are very dark practices out there, but I mean, it's the story. They say millionaires. What is it? I can't remember. Millionaires study the stocks, but billionaires study the stars. That's the age-old story of it. All these occult practices and these practices of Satan worship and stuff like that, they're done by elite people that have lots of money and lots of power. These smaller cults, especially the satanic worshiping ones, I don't. They can summon demons. Yeah, that's cool, but I don't think they can summon them to do their own bidding.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the whole Son of Sam thing, I think he was just maybe slightly schizophrenic or suffering from some form of psychosis.
Yeah. I want to ask something else. There's something else. There's something else. Do you think, though, because the media, they jump on things like that, don't they? Do you think it's because the media wants to make things like occultism and stuff like that, to make it look really bad?
Yes.
To give it like a negative view?
Doesn't it?
100%. The globally controlled media that is put out there, I think it's like 6 companies that control every media outlet in the whole of the world. And they do it to get us to live in fear. You need to be scared of this, you need to be scared of this, you need to live in fear of this and fear of this. So we go out and buy things that we don't actually need. I think they do that. I think they sort of put a bad spin on cults. I mean, if you look at history itself, paganism is a cult. Christianity was started as a cult. Don't forget, Jesus used to walk around with his disciples. He was a cult leader.
Yeah.
So I think that's the whole narrative to sort of spin that, you've got to be scared of cults and you've got to fear them. So people don't really understand them, and I think that's the problem. I mean, if you look, there are bad cults and there are good cults. It's like there's bad humans and there's good humans.
Yeah. So it's like say for history, like with like the burning of witches and things like that. It's just people are scared of things they don't quite understand.
Yes, 100%. 100%. I mean, number one fear in the world is the fear of the dark, and that's because we don't know what's there and we can't see what's there.
Yeah. I used to have fear of the dark. I used to collect lava lamps. Shoot, I did. Yeah.
Good, cool story.
Yeah.
Should I let him get off now?
Let him get off now. I think I've done now with all my questions, I think. Actually, no, I'm not.
Look, she's climbing all over me to get onto you.
One more question.
What's your favourite?
Talking about witches and stuff. Because I noticed as well with a lot of these TV shows, when they're like investigators, when they're trying to like speak to ghosts, say like they're in Pendlehill or something like that, they can be quite harsh when they're trying to communicate with them, and they're quite like, they automatically think they're evil. Whereas I don't see it that way. I think these were just women that were just, targeted and just because they were women, basically.
Yeah.
Do you think that's wrong, the way that they do communicate, or?
I think it's wrong for different reasons. I think you've got to remember, if you're dealing with a negative force, if you're dealing with a demon or a negative entity, the main fuel for these creatures is fear. And what you're doing by talking to them negatively is you're just increasing fear, because when we talk negatively or we challenge something, we're actually showing our true fear. because we're showing that we don't understand, and then we're showing confusion. I completely agree with what you're saying when they say about, when you say about they talk to them negatively, they go the wrong way about it. They are, because at the end of the day, that auto suggestion is already there. You've been told that you're dealing with the witch, so you're going to talk to them in a negative manner. Now the ball's already rolling, and things are just going to get worse and worse and worse because you're now disrespecting the spirit. The spirit's going to disrespect you back because they were human once.
Yeah.
And that's what humans do. If we disrespect somebody, they disrespect us back.
Yeah.
You never turn around to somebody and go, "Oh, bugger off, you idiot," and they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, no problem."
No.
It doesn't work like that. And that's what people have to understand. You're dealing with humans, and talking to a human negatively, you're going to get negative back. So I think that's what I was saying about the whole thing about, YouTubers with Ouija boards, and the same thing goes with witches. It's understand what you're doing, realise what you're doing, and sort of approach things in a different manner.
Yeah. I think that's all my questions. I think.
Wrap it up.
Yeah. I think that's all my questions.
3 hours later.
So yeah, thanks for joining us, Damon.
No, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed the chat.
Yeah.
Just for people that are out watching, where can they find you? What can they find you on? And promote yourself.
Yeah. Well, if you want to check out the radio show, you can head over to www.pulsetalkradio.com, where me and my co-host Ben Winfield, we're live every Saturday 9 till 10 p.m. with the Other Dimension show. If you want to contact us personally, facebook.com/TOD Paranormal, or if you need any help on my services, all you have to do is head over to facebook.com/The Demonologist UK. I've got a full back catalogue of all my shows on the Demonologist UK page, and I'm starting to get the back catalogue of the Other Dimension shows loaded up onto Facebook. If you want to check out any of the shows, just go and search the Demonologist UK or the Other Dimension on YouTube, because we're all on there as well.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
No problem.
No problem.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Honestly, it's been really fun.
Oh.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Cheers.
We'll have to check more on the Pulse radio ourselves, won't we?
Have a listen to that tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm supposed to be like alien hunting tomorrow night, so we'll have to be next week.
Yeah.
No, brilliant, guys. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, guys.
Perfect. See you next time.
See you in a bit.
Thank you.
See you later.
Nice.
Bye.
Best, bye.
I got a bit carried away there, didn't
Yeah, you got a bit carried away there.
I did get a bit carried away. So I said, I'm not really a believer in demons, but I think because I'm not that I'm not a believer, I'm open-minded. You gotta be open-minded if you're in the paranormal, full stop, like what Damon said. I think I'm just intrigued to hear of how other people see things, do you know what I mean, from myself, because I am quite close-minded when it comes to things like that. But I'm open to hearing other people's theories, if that makes sense. I think that makes sense. So
I'm just open-minded to everything, so I just keep myself open.
yeah.
Research it all, and then like you say, get your own perspective of demons, don't you?
And he knows a lot, doesn't he? He's like a walking, what I want to say, Wikipedia.
Demonologist.
Yeah, he's a walking demonologist. So yeah, just to say thanks.
Thanks again for coming on the show, Damon. It was great to talk to you. If you do want to meet up sometime and come here alien hunting with me.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will.
Yeah. He's probably thinking.
You will get trolled then.
Yeah.
But yeah, be sure to check him out, guys. On his Pulse Talk Radio, Facebook, and everything else that he said.
Yeah.
What are we talking about next time?
I have no idea yet. It might be a while till the next show.
Yeah.
So
Bit
we've got
busy,
time to think
Why are you
about
walking?
what I'm not walking. I'm
Rocking. Yeah, I've got a few Saturdays booked up, haven't we? And it's obviously we'll be able to get back out investigating now, so maybe we'll be able to get a podcast done on site, on location, maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be good, wouldn't
That
it?
would be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
For now. See you
Thanks
later.
for watching, and yeah, see you later.
Bye.